All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. Well, our morning. Who knows what it is for you? Um, as you hop on, if you would click the chat, and there's going to be like a blue drop down that says host and panelists. If you would select everyone, and then just tell us where you're calling from or what organization you're with, or both, whatever information you feel comfortable sharing would be fantastic. Just so we can see who's here. And Bill broke the ice. Thanks, Bill. All right, got some Reach Global friends. Brienne, how do you feel things are going in the Middle East right now? Feeling safe where you are? Mm. Oh, I have not heard of Pine View Havens before. I would love to know what that is. Hey, Ibrahim, I shot you an email back yesterday, I think. Glad to have you on the call. And if you're just joining us, go to that chat, select everyone in the drop down instead of host and panelists, and just kind of tell us where you're at, maybe who you're working with. Um, yeah, Brianne, I can imagine there's a lot of frustration right now. Sorry about that. Hopefully, an open door when people are frustrated and kind of at the end of themselves. Hopefully, it's an open door for people to look for something more eternal. Hmm. Larry, Eugene, Oregon. I have been to. Oh no, I haven't been to Eugene, Oregon. I've been to Bend, Oregon. That's the only place in Oregon I've ever been. So people still hopping on. We're going to wait just a few minutes before we jump in. I've, let's see. I have a question. We're doing AI prompts today and looking at AI prompts, and one of them is to help revise a newsletter. If you have a newsletter, we're only going to do one, but I just need a newsletter for us to revise on the call. And if you want to send a newsletter for us to use, that'd be fantastic. I'm putting Jessica's email in the chat. Just email her a newsletter real quick. I asked for one from one of our coaches, but I don't think they've sent me one yet. So if somebody would send us a newsletter, just an old newsletter that we can take a look at and revise. We won't actually read the newsletter prior to um, sending it to AI, so don't worry about that. We'll just revise it with AI. Oh, if you just hopped on, go to that chat button, select everyone in the drop down, and tell us where you are and who you're working with. Um, when I have not heard of, I've heard of sports ministry, of course, but wrestling, I don't think I've ever heard of a wrestling ministry. I'm loving it. If you mean WWF, totally kidding. I'm sure you're not. Thank you. I'm glad you thought that was funny. Oh, hey, Peter. Glad to have you on the call. Oh, yay, win. YouTube. All right. Should we get started?
Yeah,
You think?
I still have
All
not
right.
received a newsletter though. So guys,
Oh, we're gonna have to have a
send
newsletter.
send me some content.
Just one person out of all 40 of you needs to 41 needs to shoot a newsletter to Jessica at tailoredfundraising.com. Um, well, we tried to do this webinar last month, and Claude was down and all kinds of trouble. And I have a little PTSD from that. So I hope I can push through today. Um, but AI I feel is really unpredictable as far as the responses go. So um, I'm that is something that makes me nervous about today. Is we're going to be using these prompts, and you can use the same prompts on one day, and the response is going to be different the next day. So um, we're going to use the same prompts that we used last time because I didn't get to review them. But also, some of the feedback that I received is from our last webinar was just um, how to get started with AI, and it's super simple as far as getting started. You have a few kind of main options. One is Claude. And you can go to claude.com. There's always a free version that you can use of each one of these. You can use Gemini. I believe it's gemini.google.com, but you can actually Google that. And then you have chatgpt.com. So today I'm going to try using Claude. That's what I use the most, and really love the feedback that Claude provides. I know a lot of people really like using ChatGPT, and they've done some updates recently that made me actually enjoy using that some. I used it this morning to test out a prompt, but I'm going to start with maybe one of the more complicated ones, which is ask a prompt asking AI to review my giving history and giving me insights to that. So let me open up Claude and show it to you.
Just real quick, Russell, I wanted to remind everyone, if you have questions, feel free to put those in the Q&A. And so
Right.
if they're applicable to what we're talking about in the moment, we'll try to fit those in then. Otherwise, we'll save them for the end.
Sure. Give me 1 second to share. It's not working. Okay. I'm having to share my desktop instead of the app, so you're gonna see different screens. This is actually a desktop. I'm using the desktop version of Claude, which just means that I went to the App Store on my computer and I downloaded Claude on here instead of using my browser. You can do the same if it's a better interface for you, but you don't have to. Um, there's usually on these just a new chat button, or if you're opening it for the first time, you'll see something along the lines of this, uh, where you can use different, um, like you can ask whatever you wanting to ask. On Claude specifically, there are different um, modes. Um, I'm gonna use this. It's less of a deep thinking. It says responsive to everyday work, when Opus 4.7 is for ambitious work. So we're doing something pretty light today. It doesn't really matter probably for what you're going to be asking it to do, but I have got my prompts right here. And this is an analyze giving history prompt. that we put together, and I'm just going to copy and paste it right here. We don't need the quotes. Okay, so I put the prompt in, and then it is actually saying, I'm going to share giving history with you. Um, and I'm going to add the giving history file. And in this file, the main thing that I have, I've actually put in it's transactions from every donor for the past 5 years. That's, I think, the best version of what you can give AI. You may want to check your policies for from your organizations on uploading donor information into AI. And you can check Anthropic or Chat or OpenAI or the two, or Google. They can check their security policies, but in my opinion, it's pretty secure. We use it. So let me just, and I just hit send, and it's going to tell me that um, asking, I mean, you can read it too. It's asking me to confirm what the data contains. Uh, I'm just going to say, yes, it provides all that information. Like I said, I don't know what it's going to ask me, so I'm just doing this as it comes. And this is basically kind of the show and tell. Um, so hopefully that's what you were expecting. And you're going to need to obviously wait for it to think. So it's a little bit different of a webinar for us in that it's a little bit less unpredictable. So it's actually saying that the file that I gave it, um, it's not able to use, but it's going to convert it for me, um, which I'm actually going to stop because that'll take time, and I'm just going to convert it myself. I'm going to file, and I'm going to export it as an Excel. Hit save. And as soon as it saves, I'm going to re-upload it. Let's try this again. I'm just going to upload it and hit send. It feels so weird to wait and not talk on a webinar, but you're seeing what I'm saying. So there actually is going to be a good time, a fair amount of time for questions as we let Claude do its thing. And sometimes there are settings where you can see what it's actually doing. I think I have a setting to where I can see what's happening, like it's showing me what it's actually running. I'm interested to know, like, maybe you can put in the chat um, like, I'm interested to know where you're, what level you're starting at. Like, do we have a lot of people on this call who are just beginning? They don't even have never used AI. They use it for really complicated things. If you want to share that in the chat, I'd be really interested. So here's the answer. This is a donor giving analysis. These are donors who have reduced or stopped giving. So we had 15 lapsed completely. I think there were a few, probably at least 1,000 entries in that donor history, I would say. So picking out the lapsed ones is just super helpful at the very least. So it tells me the date window. This is when the report was from. That's the date range. Here are the number of donors it identified as active donors. Run rate, I don't know how it came up with that term, but it looks, so I don't know what run rate is. I don't know how it came up with that term. It might be an average $10,000 a month. We had 15 lapsed donors. Their combined prior year value was $13,000 or $1,100 a month. So we've lapsed $1,100 a month. It gives us some good information here about each person on the prior year total and how much per month that would be. 54 active donors dropped more than 20% year over year. That's interesting. Interesting thing to know. And we want to maybe figure out why that is, or is there moving forward preemptive things that we could do to keep that from happening. I don't know. I don't remember if this is in the prompt or not, but it's created a priority call list for us, which is great. It's actually saying the 7 lapsed donors above $1,000 in prior giving and the 6 severely reduced donors. That's saying a top priority because it's the fastest way to increase giving. Consistent B+year donors never asked to upgrade. So this is a great list. I'm sure that this is probably prompts. The first question we asked in the prompt. This is probably the second question we asked in the prompt. So it's giving us a list of people that we need to invite to increase. People who don't give regularly that might be open to giving monthly, it's identified. And then your donor base is well distributed, concentration risk. It's a relative strength. So we have a good variety in our among our donor base. Let's see. And our prompt asked it to give us 2 or 3 actions most likely to close your funding gap. And we have those 3: recover lapsed donors, upgrade most loyal 5-year donors, convert your repeat irregular givers to monthly, which is actually a great plan, to be honest. One thing I cannot confirm from your input, your current monthly support goal and what percentage you're currently at. So it's asking me, my current goal is, we'll say 12,000 per month. And I'm not sure of my percentage. You can have a very long conversation with AI. So I could probably keep doing this at, length. So based on data, I can calculate that directly. Currently, I'm at 86% funding. Here's my funding gap. So through the actions, realistic increase is $800 to $1,000. I'm still $500 to $775 short of the goal, but well within reach. Okay. The most important thing the data is telling you, your gap is not a new donor problem. Your donor count has held steady at 150 active donors. What's changed is that average giving per donor has dropped. Okay. That means your funding gap is retention and upgrade problem, not an acquisition problem. I know as people in ministry, it's odd to use words like acquisition and upgrade and things like that. But you'll just have to forgive AI for using terms that we're not used to work with. So next question, would you like me to build and prioritize a call list with specific ask and on for each donor? I'm going to say yes. And then after this response, I'll probably move on to the next prompt because AI will continue to ask questions at the end of every response. So you can go on forever and ever if you want, but I'm actually interested to know what it's going to tell me. Jessica, do we have any questions so far?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in here. We have a couple of questions related to security.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so if I've heard that if you're using free and even many lower paid tiers of AI, you're basically giving away any information that you put in there. What has your research revealed about putting sensitive information in there, like all of your donor information?
I have not researched that. Could you Google that, Jessica, or AI that?
Yeah, I will say, one thing that you could do is use initials or you code words
Yeah,
for the person's name,
right.
just
Or
to
just donor
protect.
IDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
We've
sure.
had a few questions come through about which platform you're using, Russell. To demonstrate today, he's using Claude, but there are dozens of others
Yeah,
out there.
I can actually I'll go to Chat GPT for the next one. I don't mind doing that. Um, Jessica, did you email me that newsletter?
We had two come through, so I sent those to you.
Okay, great. I forget that everyone can see what I'm doing right now, but I suppose that's okay. Okay, let's see if Claude. Here we go. So Claude's created a donor call list and it designed it for me, which is interesting, but it did design it for me. So um, it actually gave me something to open in Chrome. Again, I'm not sure why, but I will open it there. So it's giving me a donor call list. Wow, it gave me a donor call list with check boxes. That's why it gave me this HTML. Um, if you can see this, it has not put it online. This is actually just on my computer. This is not like online. So it just allows me to open in my browser, but it's not online. No one else can access it but me. It's literally living on my computer. So we have tier one lapsed donors. This is interesting. Okay. It's just basically given me, let's see, prior year, current year, restore ask, if fully restored. I don't know exactly what that means. Let's see, 5-year loyal donors, upgrade asks. 5 years, leave with gratitude, ask to round up to $100. It's giving me ask amounts. These people are not giving $100 a month. Um, Loyal small ask is easy yes, $8 a month. I actually wouldn't really recommend this plan just because I think the asks are too small and it's not going to make a big enough difference for our deficit. But I think it's interesting that it um, has given us this format and a little dashboard here. So, okay, let's do the newsletter list, the newsletter. Refresh a ministry update that actually moves people. I'm going to copy this prompt. I'm going to go to Chat GPT. I'm going to click new chat. I'm going to put in Here's my most recent newsletter update. It says paste it, but so I'm going to take that out. That's actually in the prompt. And then instead of pasting it, I could copy and paste the content underneath if I wanted to, but I'm just going to add it here. And again, I don't even know what it says. But let's open it. Here's my most recent newsletter update. Does this update tell a story using focus, crop, color, and a strong ending line? I already know what this is going to say. I know what focus, crop, and color is because that's our storytelling format. But it's not going to know what that is, and it's going to ask us what that is. I'm going to change the prompt, and I'll change what I send to you as well. Changing this to say a powerful story with a strong ending line, or does it just report information? Rewrite it as a story-driven update that ends without resolving a problem so the reader feels the tension and wants to be part of the solution. So who's this come from, by the way?
Which one did you
Jessica?
choose? I sent you
This
two.
the second one you gave me.
From
I'll
Edward
open it.
Zog.
I'll open it. Like, let's just send it up because um, I don't know if the update or if this prompt is going to take things out of it. Let's just review it real quick. There's a scripture verse. This is very personal update. We are blessed to now have a network of 3 children's centers. Okay, fantastic. Child sponsorship update. Operation Christmas Child. Okay. It's reading the document as we speak. It really shouldn't take that long because it was a Word document, but here we are. I do have the paid accounts, by the way, as you can see, the tailored down here. Okay, here we go. Right now, the update has meaningful information and heart, but it mostly reports what happened. It tells readers about sponsorship camp and Bible app, but it resolves the emotional tension too quickly. A stronger fundraising story keeps the reader emotionally inside the problem. The goal is for them to feel this isn't finished yet. I need to help. Okay, that's fair. Here's a rewritten version that leans into story, tension, and unresolved ending. So honestly, we're going to read this together. Y'all, I'm not going to read it verbatim. Y'all can read it on my screen, hopefully. But we saw the scripture verse. I was reading through 1 Samuel recently. That's kind of still the same. It may be that the Lord will work for us, not certainty, not guarantees, just strong faith enough to move forward anyway. If this was your newsletter, you may want to give us some feedback in the chat. That'd be great. Exactly what the season of life felt like. We have a story. A few weeks ago, we traveled to Uganda with King's son, to serve at the orphanage and prepare for this summer camp. The need was impossible to ignore. Children waiting for meals, families stretched beyond what they can carry, desperate for hope, stability. Okay, I can already, and I actually need the person who wrote this newsletter to tell me this. AI can conflate. It can like kind of make up things. So this might be really embellished. Waiting for meals, stretch beyond what they can carry, desperate, those types of things. So in this particular prompt, I would say, obviously, the particular prompt is going to push for the reader to want to do something. And a lot of times the people that we work with, they have an issue with making things sound as bad as they really are. And so I want to push you to, um, what am I trying to say, Jessica? I wanted to push you to, we say the hero is only as great as the villain is bad, which means if there's nothing to solve, if there's no real need, or if the need isn't super acute, then um, us being there, us sharing the gospel doesn't seem as necessary. All that being said, you're going to have to make a judgment call on what AI gives you and whether or not you think it represents what is actually happening. So there's my kind of like soapbox on this.
Hey, Russell, I'm going to give Edward permission to talk because he
Okay.
messaged and said he thinks that some of the info wasn't from his newsletter, that it merged something. Edward, you should be able to share now.
It might be that it just made it up. This is kind of what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like it might have, yeah.
I'm not. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah, the information that's shared is not from my newsletter.
at all.
We're not from Uganda. We're in the Dominican Republic, so I don't even know where it came up
In
with
what republic?
Dominican Republic.
Dominican.
Okay.
So
But
they
but
give the
your
information.
ministry, this is your newsletter?
The first part was the Bible verse, and
Okay.
then
Got it.
everything else after that. Um, Unless they merged the two newsletters that you had.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. I don't
Yeah.
think it did say documents at full, but I just had spring. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So I'm
our
gonna,
draft newsletter without any pictures in it. So,
okay. That story is made up.
yep.
We need to use a real story. Let's see where that takes us. You're right. I introduced details that weren't actually in your update. Um, to rewrite it properly, I need to stay anchored to the real moments. I can do that, but I need the actual text first. File didn't come through in a readable way. Okay, well, so that's good information to know. So I'm going to go up here and copy what was there. Copy. Sorry about that. I like to talk to it like it's a person. Here is the text from the original newsletter. Paste. See what happens there. Okay, this version has a chat says has ingredients for compelling story. Okay. Um, almost entirely young men. This was strongest real tension in your update is this almost entirely young men who come from rough backgrounds and are hungry to know more about Jesus. Okay, so here is the rewritten version. You can read this with us. We saw the verse. I've been thinking about Jonathan lately. Um, that verse felt very personal in this season. 12 years ago, when we first stepped out into faith to begin in Dominican Republic, beautiful. We now know where we are. Um, ministry is not about buildings and programs. It's about sitting in front of people who are searching for hope. Every day at New Beginnings, which is our hope, a group of young men gathers. Okay, several come from home. Jesus was never modeled for them. Um, Recently, we're able to help one of these young men replace their dirt floor in their house. The need goes deeper for direction stability. Honestly, these are, and honestly, the need is bigger than what our current resource have the resources to meet. I don't know if that was in there or if that was
No, they added that, but it's good.
okay. Um, Okay. So this in particular, Jessica, are you reading this along with me by
Yeah.
chance? Okay. Um, One, I can't tell if it's too long. No, it's not too long. Um, I think it's actually pretty well written for the purpose. Um, I am going to say this prompt was specific about it not feeling resolved, and there is a need. I don't think every newsletter that you send out needs to feel like this. Right, Jessica?
Yeah, but I do like how in the end, it references back to the Jonathan story and the need. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
one thing
yeah.
on this thing, our main need is recruiting child sponsors right now.
Uh huh.
So it's beyond our personal, support needs, but um, to gain individual sponsors for the children. So
Uh huh. Right. And that is that the point of the newsletter?
no, it's a multi-pronged
Okay.
approach.
Cool.
It's an update. We're looking for sponsors. Hopefully, some personal support will come in, but that's been dropping off. The more that
Right.
we recruit sponsors, we're focusing on that. So our
Yeah.
personal support dwindled. So
Yeah. In general, we wouldn't suggest that you actually make an ask in a newsletter unless there's a really specific reason or it's part of an overall strategy. Um, so I like that um, this is honestly more of an awareness thing. But I think it's actually really well written. Um, so I'm happy with how it turned out. I could ask it to make. Are there any adjustments that you'd like me to ask it to make by chance? You don't have to, but
um, well, possibly to increase the focus on the child sponsorship and the results,
okay,
maybe.
yeah. And so there's a something I want to show you in my experience with AI, which is can you slightly. If you don't use words like slightly, you're going to get a really big difference. So um, can you focus slightly more on the aspect of our child sponsorship program. So using the word slightly is often pretty helpful for me. And man, it's amazing how fast it rewrites. Um, let's see. While everyone else stayed safely in the camp. Okay, so we're still in the Bible verses. That verse felt really personal. 12 years ago, we stepped out on faith. But what has impacted me most recently has not been the programs. It has been seeing what's happened when a child and their family realizes they're no longer alone. Then it goes in through our child sponsorship program. We have done this. So it gives kind of explanation. These aren't just projects. Find every family. I mean, these are really great need statements. This is what this is like providing. 46 children have been sponsored through our program, but there are still more children waiting. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Um, More families, crisis. Okay, so it didn't change a whole lot, which I like that it didn't do. I'm going to go up here. Yeah, it is more specific about the child sponsorship, which I like. Great adjustment. Good adjustment. So,
Russell, so,
let me,
another attendee did point out that there isn't a lot of gratitude conveyed. It kind of depends on Edward, who is your audience here. If these are your
yeah,
supporters, we want to make sure that we're including that. So that's another prompt, that you could ask it to add.
Yeah,
yeah.
this we cast a broad net with this one. It goes out to 1,000 people. All of our supporters get it, but there's a lot. Most of the people who get it are not financial supporters. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say, although most people receiving this email aren't finance. Yeah. Okay. Let's just see what happens. And then we'll move on to the next prompt. Important distinction. The key is to express gratitude for people praying, people reading, and staying connected. So it's going to express gratitude. Here is a revised ending section with that tone adjusted. So it didn't rewrite the whole thing for us. I just rewrote this specific thing saying we are grateful for each of you who pray for us, encourage us, and take time to follow what God is doing here in Dominican Republic. Even simply reading these updates means more than you probably realize. So there's that. Okay, cool. Let's pick another prompt. What time is it? 11:40. We're fine. Okay. I'm going to copy and paste this and put this in the, yikes, in the chat. This is the prompt I'd like to use. It's in the chat. I would love for somebody on this call to volunteer to actually answer these questions live. And so do that while we do that, I'm going to do a different prompt. So read those questions. If just message Jessica if you'd like to be the guinea pig. So this is reactivate a lapsed donor prompt. I'm going to use ChatGPT again.
Russell, I'm sorry, which questions are they answering?
Well, I put it in the chat.
Oh,
Did that
okay,
go to?
right.
Yeah. So there's a
Okay.
prompt in there. And if somebody's willing to come off mute and answer those live while we, go through this. I'm going to start a new chat. Actually, no, if I keep the same chat, it's going to keep the context of the ministry. Okay. So let's go ahead and keep that. Otherwise, I would want to start a new chat. So I have a prompt that says, this is a lapsed donor prompt. I have a donor who gave to my ministry for 3 years. I haven't been in touch in 6 months. Help me write a message to reconnect. Not asking for anything yet, just entering their life. The message should feel like I'm genuinely thinking of them and not open a sales cycle. I'm going to add to this prompt. Ask me 1 or 2 questions, 2 helpful questions before you write the message. Okay, 2 questions. What was the nature of your relationship before they stopped giving? Mostly transactional, personal friendship, church connection. I knew them from church. We weren't super close, but definitely friends. Do you know anything happening in their life right now? Family, work. They has small kids. I'm not sure what's going on with them. Okay. Now let's see what message chat comes up with for us to send to this donor. It's thinking a lot more than what I thought it was going to think. I thought it was going to go a lot faster. There are no documents. Okay. Not mention giving, not over explain the silence, does not include a ministry update dump, and ends with an easy relational openings. Okay, so hey, you've been on my mind recently, and I realize it's been way too long since we've caught up. That's actually what we would do. It's called sweeping away an objection. We kind of point out the obvious. I know life with little kids can feel nonstop sometimes, so I just wanted to check in and say I hope you guys are doing well. Things have been busy on our end with ministry in the DR, so it took the context of this chat. But I wasn't reaching out about that specifically. I genuinely just want to reconnect and see how you and your family are doing these days. Would love to hear how life's been treating you whenever you have a minute. So an easy reconnect message doesn't have to do with giving, just a personal note. So I did remember they had a wedding and an anniversary 2 months ago. Just gonna add that little detail, see what happens. Perfect. Gives us real human reason to reach out. I was thinking about you guys recently, and I realized I completely missed your anniversary a couple of months ago. So belated happy anniversary. So there's that. Super simple. Jessica, do we have somebody willing to?
No one has volunteered yet.
Oh gosh. Okay, well, I'll make up the information. Here, I'm going to copy this prompt. Diagnose why you're underfunded. Yeah, it's a little intimidating, I must say. So I'm going to start a new chat on this. I'm a missionary who has been on support for a while, and I'm underfunded. So, and we gave it some questions to ask us. Let's do this. Okay, how long have you been raising support, and what percentage of your goal are you currently at? 10 years and at 73%. In your last support raising season, roughly how many donor meetings do you have, and how many result in a yes? I had 15 meetings, and 11 of them said yes. When you think about those meetings that didn't result in a yes, what do you think happened? I wasn't really clear, and Jessica, you can fill in the blanks. If I'm too slow, you can help me write this, but wasn't really clear. And
I never followed up.
I talked probably too much. I also didn't follow up more than once. Okay. How would you describe the size and quality of your contact list right now? Feels dwindling. It's people I haven't talked to in a very long time. Maybe 15 people left. The most likely root cause of your funding gap is not poor closing ability, it's pipeline exhaustion. Okay, that's very business-like, but it is what it is. Your numbers actually show that you're reasonably effective in meetings, 15 meetings, 11 yeses, strong close rate for support raising. The issue is that you only had 15 meetings after 10 years in support. Okay, that's not true. It asked about my latest support raising season. I asked about over 10 years. It's probably happening. You've relied on the same relational network for a long time. So the first thing to address is not presentation technique. It's rebuilding your contact development system, expand your network before worrying about optimizing asks, reconnecting systematically, create a consistent new relational entry points instead of depending on old contacts, tighten your ask process after the pipeline is growing again. Immediate priority, building a list of 100 to 150 potential contacts. Right now, your ceiling is being set by too few conversations, not inability to win support. That's fair. It's not super enlightening. Secondarily, shorten your presentation, make the invitation clear, and improve follow-up persistence. I think with this prompt, actually, let me just ask it another. I'll just say you asked for the latest support raising season. I have made more than 15 asks in the last 10 years. How should I expand my network? Do that. Hopefully you're gleaning from like, this isn't Google where you put in and just get information back. I mean, we are getting information back, but you can actually interact with the information, obviously. So you are like, take things that you're curious about in the answer that AI is giving you. Ask for clarification. Tell it it's wrong. Ask it to redo a response. So don't think of it as just putting in something and getting something out and you're done. Think of it more of as a conversation. 11 out of 15 season means you're not fundamentally bad at asking. Well, thank you. Missionaries who are underfunded have these problems. Weak conviction. I rarely find that to be true. So that's not unclear ask. Yes. Avoidance. Yes. Low meeting volume. Yes. Okay. Giving us a list of people that we haven't asked before. Here's a question to ask yourself. Who knows me indirectly, but hasn't heard my current story? That's a great question. We usually ask the question, who needs to hear about this ministry? Use introductions intentionally. This is probably the single fastest path. The end of a good meeting, ask who are 2 to 3 people you think would resonate with this ministry. We don't usually ask for referrals at the end of a meeting because more than one ask at the end of a meeting, asking for funding, asking for referrals is a bit much. I know some people disagree with that, but we usually do that later. Reconnect without immediately asking. Your dormant network is likely more valuable than you think. People often assume I haven't talked to them in years, so it'll be awkward. Usually the opposite happens. A reconnection message can simply say you were thinking about them. Increase visibility surface area. You don't need influencer level content. You just need consistent presence. Okay. Yeah. A lot of people aren't maximizing the newsletter list. So I think maybe more often shorter content could kind of re-up some things. So stop treating support raising like a periodic emergency. Okay. So some helpful things after I ask it a follow-up question to that. So I'm going to stop sharing. That's not all of the prompts. That's most of them. I am going to say that like these prompts have I didn't know what they were going to say, honestly. So these prompts have kind of revealed that it's really great information to take to a coach and say, hey, here's where it looks like I need to be focusing, but I need to help fleshing this out. So maybe you use some of these prompts, like especially the gift history evaluation. Like, I mean, we would love for you to use that prompt, schedule a call with me, a discovery call to see if coaching might be helpful. We can actually take a look through that, what AI response gave you and come up with whether or not, whether or not to be helpful. PDF didn't work. Okay, I don't know what's going on in the chat. Jessica sure does, but we'd love to help you with any of this. Help you create a plan, help you be successful. Jessica, what questions do we have?
The only one we still have is asking about which paid platform you would recommend. Like if they were to pay for one, do you have a preference?
Gosh, I should have done a prompt on Claude. I generally find that I get better responses from Claude, which I was using ChatGPT, um, but I do like the responses I get from Claude. Um, I would try both of the free versions, see which responses that you like. The upgrade is I think $20 a month, so it's not a lot. But just if you're worried about like data and personal things, just interact with it some and see if you like the way you're interacting with it. They have kind of different tones and different voices. And there's a way deeper personal settings that you can make in these that we're not going into to make it interact how you want it to interact with it. But in general, I would say hop on for 15 minutes on each, see like how you enjoy the voice and their responses to what you're asking. I use Claude 10 hours a day because I'm using it for building a lot of things. So good question.
So just as a follow-up to the security questions, and that's what Krista was messaging in the chat with us about. So it is a concern sharing personal information and financial information for those unpaid plans. So, our recommendation would be definitely like if you're going to do that, you need to pay for a service where that data is not being mined. Otherwise, use aliases and make changes to the information so that can't be tracked to that specific individual.
Yeah, on ChatGPT, there's a clause at the bottom of my screen that says OpenAI does not use tailored fundraising workspace data to train its models. I'm assuming it's because we have a paid version. So, yeah. So, man, I hope this was helpful. This was a completely kind of different webinar than we usually do. And, would love your feedback on if we should do more AI stuff. I mean, I code with AI every day. I build agents with AI. So there's a lot more that I can share, but I just want to make sure I'm sharing stuff that's really useful for you guys. Maybe the next time we do AI, just be like AI tools that already exist, not just necessarily prompts, but that can be helpful. So yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Jessica, can you put my discovery call link in the chat?
Yeah.
I'll put it in there. It's easy. Tailored. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you would like a 30-minute call with me to talk about whether or not coaching could be helpful, please, by all means, let's chat. And
also,
yeah.
Also, I just wanted to let everyone know we will send out the AI prompts and the recording in a follow-up email on Friday. Right. So you'll have all those resources.
Great. That's great. Thanks, Jessica. Mm-hmm. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a great day.